wanted to make for you guys because Bethesda, at the time of recording this today, they did a live stream with the Battlegrounds Brawl event, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this. So I wanted to take a little bit of time between them ending their stream and between me recording this, because when I first got done watching it, I was enraged. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to make a video that was a lot more informative. I didn't want to go off of pure emotion. I wanted to kind of talk about this in a kind of monologue way, but without all the emotions of right afterwards. So I wanted to talk about everything that I witnessed with this, and from my perspective as a player that has PvP'd and streamed this game for, I can't even tell you this game. I've been streaming this game for about 6 to 7 years now at this point. I've been playing this game for about 8 years now, I think, about maybe 9, but regardless. So I've been playing for a long time, and I've been kind of in that way out of the game, but I saw this, and this was one of those things that made me realize this is one of those big things of what ZOS is doing wrong with PvP. So I was watching, they've got on the screen right here, they've got Brian Wheeler, who is the lead combat design for PvP. They've got Cypher PK, and they've got Sanira. Now, I wanted to just start off by saying I love Sanira. She's a good friend. All respect to her. So all of the, and also Cypher, I respect him. I've never talked to him, but he's done so many amazing things with his life. So good for both of them. I'm really proud of both of them for being part of this stream, and I mean that in the most genuine way possible. I'm everything that I'm about to say is not directed at either of them whatsoever. But what I did want to talk about was watching Brian Wheeler play PvP as the lead combat designer. It was like I was watching somebody play PvP for the first time ever. He was on an Oaken Soul healer build where he was just beyond squishy, and he didn't know how to build his build, and it was one of those things that I was watching, and it genuinely looked like it was his first time ever playing PvP. It was crazy to me. He didn't know how to heavy attack to get resources back. The amount of times that man died because he just didn't have any stamina, and he didn't know that he could heavy attack to get stamina back. It's crazy. That's from our lead combat designer for PvP. He's in charge of PvP, and he doesn't know that you can heavy attack to get resources back. I didn't watch the full 2 hours of the stream, but I watched enough of it to see that he didn't know how to heavy attack. Guys, how do we not know how to heavy attack in 2024, especially as the lead combat designer for PvP? And just watching his awareness in PvP and just watching the way he was walking around, it genuinely felt like I was watching an amateur play the game. And I want to also say that he doesn't need to be the best player in the world. I don't expect him to be the best player in the world. He has a full-time job where he's actively designing stuff and doing that. So by no means do I expect him to be God tier, S tier PvP or God tier gamer. But I expect, as somebody who's the lead combat designer, somebody who's in charge of making all of these huge decisions, I expect some kind of semblance of competency when it comes to PvP, because it means that you understand it. I'm not saying this with any kind of ego or any kind of whatever. When I watched him play, he looked lost. That man was a lost child. I felt like I needed to call security at the mall because we found a lost child here, and he somehow made it onto this Bethesda stream. And I was so confused on how that man has a job. I was so lost. But what it felt like to me is that I don't know how he has his job, and I don't know what he does with it. But to me, what it felt like is when Robble got fired or quit or whatever happened with that, it felt like ZOS. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Inglourious Basterds. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It felt like ZOS was like, well, in the movie, they need to speak Italian at one point, and they're all Americans, and they're like, okay, hey, you speak the third most Italian, and he's like, what? I don't speak Italian. He's like I said, third most. So they walked up to Brian Wheeler and they're like, hey, you know the most about PvP. You get this job. He's like, wait, I don't know PvP. He's like, exactly. There you go. There's a job. And that's what it felt like to me. Like, here, I'll play the clip real quick because I think it's funny.
I'll be your escort. Donovan speaks second most, so he'll be your Italian cameraman. Omar third most, so he'll be Donnie's assistant.
I don't speak Italian.
Like I said, third best. Just keep your fucking mouth shut.
So to me, it just feels like somebody who is so incompetent is in charge of such a huge aspect of this game. And it's one of those things where I was witnessing him playing, and so many questions that I had about how has PvP ended up this way. It has become such an unbalanced nightmare of a game where there are just so many things that are just running rampant that are disgustingly OP. Healing is so overtuned. Proc sets at an all-time high once again, which is crazy to say because we already went through that. So it was just one of those things where I'm just witnessing this and I was just astounded because I had so many of my questions answered. It's like to see the incompetence at such a high level was unbelievable. And another thing that I kind of wanted to touch on as well, because I felt like this was very vital to the PvPer side of the game, is chat was in slow mode for most of the stream, and I got to see so many people typing in chat, and I have never seen so many messages get deleted. Yes, I do want to start off by saying if your message is rude and nasty in any way, I kind of feel, yes, you should have your message deleted. Yes, I agree with that. But if you say something in a respectful manner that's kind of constructive criticism or something like that, and you still get your message deleted, bro, I am so tired of Zos and Bethesda, whatever the Bethesda part about it. Basically, it's just Zos at this point. I'm so tired of Zos basically treating all PvPers like they're the redheaded stepchild, and they're just like, well, just be happy that we're doing anything for you. I feel like Harry Potter just like chilling underneath the staircase as a PvPer, and they're like, oh, well, here, look, at least you have a place to stay. It's so crazy to me. They're just, every time I saw, I swear, at least 1 out of every 5 to 10 messages got deleted, which is crazy in a stream like that. Like, that is wild. And people asking genuine questions like, hey, I saw at one point, this message wasn't deleted, but this was something that kind of stuck out to me, was React Faster, who is an incredibly knowledgeable PvPer and somebody who I think, and a lot of people regard as one of the best PvPers to ever do it in this game, added one of those team members in chat and was like, hey, I'm sure you saw this certain issue. I forgot exactly what he said. He's like, I'm sure you saw this one issue that's on the forums. Have you seen it? And do you have any plans to like address this in any way? And the Zos person responded to him saying, yep, we saw it. Absolutely no confirmation of like, oh yeah, we're working on something to fix it, or we're working on like he just got a thumbs up back. Like he was like somebody was just like texting their dad, like, you know, just like, hey, like, you want to get dinner, and just thumbs up. Just like, that's it. Just he basically just got a thumbs up in return. I'm just like, the communication there is just astounding. And I was just appalled. I assume that this is probably their first and last time ever doing this. And then also one other thing that I wanted to mention real quick as well, because I could go off about how just incompetent Brian Wheeler is all day, and how just appalling the gameplay was on that channel. It was horrible. But one other thing that I wanted to highlight was this patch came out on October 28th. It came out on my birthday, so I know exactly what day it came out. And it is currently November 20th. That's the time that they had this live stream, this time I'm recording this. And how many times, I don't know how many of you guys watch this, but the amount of times that they got into a BG and another team didn't load in, and they just sat there the 5 minutes and then got kicked back out of that BG. the amount of times that happened is ridiculous. Wouldn't you think that after, what is that, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks? Wouldn't you think that they would have done a hot fix or some kind of fix to make sure that BGs were up and running before they had their big live stream events? Wouldn't you kind of think that? But nope. The amount of times that they just sat there and sat there and sat there was kind of crazy. And it's one of those things where it just shows that Zoss just is like, hey, let's push this out. We don't need to worry about it running smoothly. Let's just see how it goes and just hope for the best, but it'll probably be the worst. So it was just watching the entire performance of this was very confirming to me in my beliefs that I think that Zenimax is so unbelievably out of touch, especially the current staff of Zenimax is so out of touch with their one side of their community, the PvP side of the community. They just have no way to talk to them. They have no way to even communicate to them because nobody even wants to communicate to the PvPers. And to me, it is just, it makes me feel like I've made the right decision beginning to move on from this game. I could not care less about just playing this game long term anymore because I just watch the way I watch the way they act. Brian Wheeler is honestly good for him because that man has been stealing money from Zenimax for I don't know what he's doing for his job, but you know what? Congratulations to him. That man is securing the bag off of doing genuinely nothing. So good for him. But I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm just going on a tangent and a rant at this point. So I'm just gonna kind of call it right there. What were your guys' thoughts on this? Did you guys watch the live stream as well? Because if you did, I would love to hear your thoughts on that because I have many opinions on it. But anyways, and I could go on for days. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Let me know what you guys think. Am I being too harsh? Am I being not harsh enough? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later.